All right, so first question. Exponent rules, combining like terms, and I gave you this monstrosity. My goal is to put together all of the things that look the same, okay? I have to combine things that are the same creature. I have the M creature, M for melon or whatever, or M for moron, and then I have numbers, all right? So I have M's and I have numbers. First, I have to do my distributing. So I have to multiply everybody inside here by 7. Nobody else gets this 7 except these two. So I do 7 times M, well, 7M. And then I do 7 times 2, which is 14. Now, over here, you're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? You can put a little 1 there. This is a -1. I have to distribute this -1 to this dude, which makes him -2. Now, you have to be very careful here. I have -1 times -M. A negative times a negative. 2 wrongs make a right. So a minus and a minus make a plus, and you get the M. And then one more time, I do 3 in the M, and then I do the 3 and the 8. 3 times 8 is 24. You're like, what the hell is the point of all of this shit? Now, you got to put together all of the things that have an M. Notice that I'm circling the signs. You have to be very careful. Make sure that you have the correct sign. I have 7 melons and another melon, and then 3 melons. So, or morons. 7 morons and 1 moron. If you want to put the 1 here, put the 1 there. You don't have to if you understand that it's 1. You can't just do like, oh, it's 10. It's not 10. These are 10, and you have 1 more. So you have 11 M, and then you got to do the other ones. So I'm going to do red. I have a bunch of numbers there. So I have 14 and 24, right? 14 and 24, which makes 38. And then I take away 2. So I have 36. You don't have to do the stuff in your head. You can write it out. There's no reason not to, all right? If you don't have a calculator, write it out by hand. So first I distribute, right? You have to do the multiplication first. Then you add and subtract the creatures that look the same. And then that's what you get. All right, so the next question on combining. Subtract this dude from that dude. And then this is monstrous. I mean, this guy's got 3 terms, right? Terms are separated by pluses and minuses. So 1 term, another term, another term. So this is a trinomial because it's got 3 terms, whatever. Triple, triple. Now the question is, which one goes first? Now, if I had said to you, subtract 3 from 10, and I wrote this down, this is not me taking 3 away from 10. If I wanted to take 3 away from 10, I would do this. This is me taking 3 away from 10. So when I say subtract 3 from 10, 10 had to go first, right? Subtract 3 from 10, away from 10. So when I want to subtract this dude away from this dude, that means he has to go first. He's like the 10, right? Subtract 3 from 10. He goes first. So I have to do, so I'm going to write something wrong first, as always. Subtract him from, away from him. Now, I did make a mistake. That wasn't my mistake. That's just sloppiness. I am subtracting him. And that's not what this means. This, I am subtracting all 3 of the dudes. So I have to subtract him. Now, when you subtract something, a funny thing happens. The signs change. So if you don't put the parentheses and switch all the signs, you're going to do this wrong. I was very careful when I made this up. See, I had a plus 3x here, and I have a minus 3x here, because I know people will see a plus 3x and a minus 3x, and they'll just cross them out. They go, oh, 3x, take away 3x. They cross out. They don't cross out. I have to subtract him, which means I'm going to switch all 3 signs. Remember, the minus sign has to hit them all. My arrows are bad, but fix my arrow. So I have x2 plus 3x, take away 5. Now, minus 2x2, a minus and a minus make a plus 3x, and then a minus and a minus make a plus 4. Now I'm going to play the same little game I played before. I'm going to put together the creatures that look the same. I'm going to put squiggly under the numbers. Squiggly. So I have x2. There's one x2. I'm going to take away two of them. 1 minus 2. Now, remember the rule. The rule says when you add and subtract these things, you keep the letters and the powers the same, and you add and subtract the numbers in front. 1 take away 2 is -1. X squared doesn't change to x4 or some other weird crap. I have 3 x's and 3 x's. That gives me 6 x's. They're like 3x and 3x is 6x squared. It's not. 3 apples and 3 apples is not 6 apples squared, okay? You don't take an apple and add them up and get an apple squared. The creature doesn't change. You keep everything the same. I have -5 plus 4. You owe me $5 and you pay me 4. You still owe me $1. So I combine the x2 creatures, I combine the x creatures, and then I combine the number creatures, which is money, okay? So it was real important which one you put first. If you put the wrong one first, you're going to F up the whole thing. I also, super important, I had to keep parentheses around the guy that I was subtracting and distribute that minus sign. If you don't switch all the signs, it's going to be wrong. This is exactly what you write, exactly the same way that I wrote it. So this is the first one with exponent rules. I did a division one first. The multiplying one is a lot easier. Now, when you divide letters with powers, I told you that the rule is subtract. So it's pretty simple. I just have to do here 10 minus 5. Now, I did tell you something really important, that when the power on the bottom is bigger, that's where you have to start. So I'm not going to do 6 take away 8. This is important. Yeah, I'm going to do 6 take away 8. You get -2. Negative powers are not defined. We don't do them. There is a way to do them, and I'm not doing it. So if I see you do that, then you did it wrong. So you're going to start at the higher one, which is 8, and take away 6. Now, I want to look here. I have Z3 and Z3. They're the same. Like, if this was a 5 and this was a 5, wouldn't you just cross them out and just be like, cha? They're the same. Z3 divided by Z3 is 1. You don't need this there, so you cross it out. And I'm going to do 3 minus 3 and get 0, and then you don't know what the hell to do with that. Z to the 0 would be 1. Why? Because Z3 over Z3 is 1 when you divide them. So I do 10 minus 5 on top, which is 5. And on the bottom, I do 8 take away 6, which is 2. This is what you get. It's that simple. I just subtract. Start with the bigger number. 10 take away 5 goes on top. 8 take away 6, 2 goes on bottom. You have to go where it is. If the bigger number is downstairs, if you were to write out y, and start crossing them out, you'll get 2 left over on the bottom, okay? All right, so I put 2 more examples with exponents. Whoops, I didn't finish this one. There's a 3 there. All right, so this first one. You are supposed to take 2x to the 5th and do it 3 times. And you know what? It's okay if you want to write that. It's a little ridiculous to write that. But I want you to see that the number that's in there has to get raised to this power as well. You have to do 2 times 2 times 2. So that's why I wrote it all the way out. I don't expect you to do that. I need to do -2 to the 3rd power, and I need to do x to the 5 to the 3rd power. I need to do -2 times -2 times -2. This is what it means to do the 3rd power. You write it out 3 times. So 2 times 2 times 2, right? 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. And you have minus, minus, minus. So you get a -8 here. Now the rule, when you do x5, I know my 5 looks a little funky there, but it's a 5. I'm saying the word 5. So when you do 5 to the 3rd, you don't add them. The rule with doing a power to a power was to multiply the powers. So here you get a 15. So I do -2 to the third, I get -8. I do x5 to the third, I get 15. All right, so this, I think I did this third, as the third rule on the notes. Now, here, you have a bunch of multiplying to do. I have 3 times 2 times 1. You don't have to do this, okay? I'm just doing it for emphasis. I have x11, x8, and x5. Well, first of all, you have to do 3 times 2, which is 6, and 6 times 1 is 6. Now, with the powers, remember, don't write this out. You can write x, 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 and then count them, which is ridiculousness. I need to add them all together. I need to do 11 plus 8 plus 5. The rule is to add the exponents together. Apparently, I can't make a 5 to save my life. So x, 11 and 8 is 19, plus 5 more is 24. So what did I do? I multiplied all of the numbers together, just like you normally do. They're numbers, just multiply them together. And what did I do with the x's? I added the powers together, okay? So division, you subtract the powers. Multiplication, you add the powers. When you do power to a power, you multiply the powers. Those are the only 3 things that you're gonna see show up, okay?